Valentine's Day is just around the corner, so I thought this would be a great time to share some free Valentine's patterns with you. I've got quilts, I've got pillows, there's a couple table toppers, and I even have a letter organizer pattern to share with you. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video for some honorable mentions. They aren't free, but they are still cute. So let's get started. Okay, first things first, let's talk fabric, because I like to include a couple mock-ups for some of these free patterns that I show you, just so you can get an idea of what they might look like in different colorways. I mean, it also means I get to do some window shopping at my favorite online quilting shop, so that's fun too. For the first couple fabric lines, I decided to go with a more traditional Valentine's Day color palette with reds, pinks, and whites. So first up, we have Little Sweethearts by Laundry Basket Quilts. We've got some nice creams in there and a good selection of light pinks and reds. And then the second traditional Valentine's Day color palette is Love Blooms by Lella Boutique. And you can see there's some really deep reds, some light pinks, we've got some hearts over here even, and some arrows, so very Valentine's Day. Then for something a little bit more bright and bold and non-traditional, I have Best Day Ever by Melody Miller, who is from Ruby Star Society. We've got some pinks still, but we also have some blues and these very eye-scorching yellows, which I love, and a lot more really big prints. And finally, for those who have a more sorrowful view of Valentine's Day, I chose Blueprint by Camille Ross Kelly. So no pinks in sight. I did a couple times include some reds from, I think, Little Sweethearts with these blues, but other than that, I went true blue, just blues and whites. If you're interested in any of these fabrics or any of the patterns that I'm going to mention later on in the video, make sure to check out the description of this video where I'm going to link everything and try to be super organized so it's easy for you to find. The very first quilt I want to highlight is the Big Love quilt by Nicole Daskowitz. I know I'm butchering that. Sorry, Nicole. Anyway, it is a great place to start if you are a beginner quilter because it's mostly just large half square triangles. There are a couple squares in the middle of the heart, but it's pretty straightforward and there's no fancy piecework, so altogether it should work up pretty quickly. It also comes in two sizes, a large throw and a small throw. Next up is Stitches from the Heart. This is another half square triangle heart, just on a much smaller scale. And also, if you're interested, there is a video tutorial that you can go through. So you can do the mini version that finishes at 12 by 12 or the larger version that finishes at 35 by 35 inches. Then we have the Ombre Heart by the Crafty Quilter, and this cute little heart could be a really great use of scraps. And I know technically the pattern is just for the one block, but it's very easy to convert it into a full-size quilt. But that's actually what I did with the mock-ups too. I didn't do just a single block. I did how I might lay it out as a quilt. Now this one is a little different. You're not going to see a single heart on it. This one is called Spun Sugar and it was designed by Sarah Maxwell and Dolores Smith. This pattern has a very traditional sort of look to it and it does not scream Valentine's Day by any means, but with the right color palette you could really make it lean heavily into Valentine's Day with those reds and pinks that I was talking about earlier. Although I really do like the fabrics they chose for this one because it reminds me of a box of chocolates. It's very soothing and understated. This cute little quilt here is called Baby Heart Log Cabin, and it was designed by Carolyn Fairbanks, and it is a log cabin block set on point. Very, very cute. I tried a lot of different things when I was making the mock-ups for this one, and I think it works best with a very limited color palette and high contrast between the background and the hearts. So you might want to keep that in mind if you want to make this one. This is Valentine Table Topper by Karen from Stitching with Two Strings. I think this one could work up really quickly, and it would be ideal if you had a good amount of red and pink scraps to pull from. I also think you could repurpose this one and make a St. Patrick's Day quilt if you trade in the red and pink for some greens. Next up, I have a trio of love quilts. So I have Little Love here. I have Made with Love, and I really enjoy the spool of thread in the O. That's very cute. But this one is my favorite. This is the love pillow from Tilda's World. And it's my favorite mainly because, and again, I think it would work up really quickly, but also it gives whatever fabric you choose to use a chance to shine. And I really like the look of large print fabrics for the background and then a simple blender for the letters. So basically the opposite of what we have here. Although this looks really nice too. Chains of Love by the Jedi Craft Girl is a very cute Irish chain quilt. It still has those hearts, but it's a little bit more traditional. And because of the busyness of this pattern, I think it would work best with a limited color palette, especially with these chains, so everything is cohesive and the pattern doesn't get lost in the chaos of scraps. I really like how she chose her colors for the chains too, because these red ones really frame this central heart, and then the pink ones just sort of settle into the background. This is the Cross My Heart Table Topper, and it is another little one that would work up really fast, and it really makes me want to have a tea party for some reason, and I'm really enjoying these sort of dusty pinky purples that they chose, especially with the combination of this really rich navy. Now, this one, the Love Note block, I think it is an excellent opportunity to give a really meaningful gift to a friend. So this is the block as it is, but if you go to Amy Smart's blog, she did a post where she did several different versions of this block. And this embroidered one right here is my absolute favorite version that she did. I think the embroidery makes it feel really cozy, and you could do a lot to really personalize this to someone specific. Now, this Love Struck Heart block by Cluck Cluck Sew is very unique. I haven't seen this motif anywhere else in these quilts, so it's a lot of fun, a little bit cheeky, and I think it would be a good addition to an album quilt, possibly. This is the love letter organizer that I mentioned, and I like that it could be very, very Valentine specific, pinks and reds and hearts and blah, 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 you know, all of that. But you could also repurpose it to be just a letter organizer, you know, for the whole year. It doesn't have to be season specific. You would just, you know, use a different color palette, omit the hearts, and then boom, you've got an everyday workable solution to maybe a little bit of clutter. Now look at this Heart Chenille pillow by Craft Passion. Doesn't it look so cozy? I have seen the faux chenille look for years, but every time I encounter them in the wild at like a craft show or a quilt show, I always have to touch it. So if you're not familiar with this process, you use multiple layers, then you do some quilting on top. You'll notice the lines going this way and that way. And then when it comes time to finish it up, you cut in between the lines that you've sewn. So it looks like that. And then I think you finish it up by washing it so that it gets nice and fluffy along those edges. Now I want to switch gears over to my honorable mentions. And remember, they are not free, but they are cute. So I'm going to try to power through these. First up, Love Is All Around, designed by Nadra Ridgway. Then we have the I Heart You quilt by Then Came June and Pen and Paper Patterns. Then there is Patchwork Hearts 2 by Quilty Love, and I love Quilty Love's patterns because they're very well written and very easy to follow. The Hearts at Home 2, I thought it was 11. I think it's 2 now. And this is a log cabin one. And then finally, something a little different. This is actually a pattern booklet. So it has the pattern for this panel quilt right here on the cover. It also has patterns for a needle book, a ruffle bag, an envelope bag, and a ruffle pillow. And it does not come with this panel, but if you are interested in that, this is what the panel looks like. It's the Funny Valentine panel. and it's very cute and a little bit kitschy, and I love it. Thanks for spending time with me today, quilters. If you want to support this channel and help me buy supplies and materials for future videos, please visit my Buy Me a Coffee page linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye!